driverless cars. Finally, the future, it's here. Watch any TV show or movie with an eye to the future, and the characters are seen lounging in the back seat, finishing up work or sleeping while their robot chauffeur does all the driving. Kind of seemed inevitable the day would arrive, and it has. Amen. So you'd think we'd be a bit more prepared and that the cars would be perfect because, safety, not so much. Tesla, one of the leaders in driverless car technology, has announced 9 recalls in the past 3 months. Some of the problems included cars rolling through stop signs, braking for no reason, and even allegedly causing a crash into a group of police officers. Are these fixable bugs, or are they cause for real concern? I'm joined by Brad Templeton. He is a software developer, an internet entrepreneur, and a self-driving car expert. Brad worked on Google's driverless car program. So when I hear driverless car, Brad, I assume that I should be able to kick back and take a nap while my car commutes me to work. We're not there yet, are we?
Oh, no, we're not there. And that is something that people want to have in the future. But I think an important thing about the way you introduce this is to understand that most people believe that Tesla is not actually building a self-driving car. They have used that name to describe one of their prototype products. But there are many other companies, including Google or the company Waymo that spawned from that, GM's unit, Cruise companies in China, which are building real self-driving cars and working very hard on it. In fact, Waymo has been operating them near Phoenix, Arizona now for several years with no one in them taking people on rides. They've driven for about 6 million miles and never been at fault in an accident, which is about 8 human lifetimes. So it's actually a pretty good record. And even so, they're just beginning to spread out where they're using it. Tesla, you could talk for hours about all the issues around them. They're taking a very different approach. They are, of course, a maverick car company, and they do take different approaches from other car companies as well as software companies. But there's still a lot to be done.
So here's the thing. I know nothing about cars. I just know that I don't like driving. And my eyesight is terrible at night and in the rain. And I would die to have a self-driving car. But I am not going to spend a bunch of money and buy one of these things if the rule is I'm supposed to have my hands on the wheel and be looking at all times. What would be the point of having one?
Well, most of the other companies, in fact, what they want to build is what they call a robo-taxi business, which is basically Uber, but where you don't need a driver. And thus you can make it cost a lot less than an Uber does. You could even consider giving up your car and using only that. Although you're not quite right about the value to an individual car owner. In particular, Tesla's first product, which they called Autopilot, which is different from their self-driving product. It's only used by most people on the highways, on very straight roads, and it actually does make driving a bit more relaxing. It's a bit like a cruise control, except now you're driving on a road that's absolutely straight. And people do actually supervise that properly. They don't seem to have significantly more accidents. It's about the same accidents they have with it and without it. And that actually is nice, and many people do enjoy it. But to actually be able to kick back, sleep, not have to turn the steering wheel, I've calculated, by the way, that Americans spend 50 billion hours every year turning steering wheels, which is, well, the labor output of the United States is 240 billion hours, so it's a pretty amazing number. So everyone looks forward to that, but that's happening a little more slowly than a car you can buy in a dealership.
Well, I want to be able to, like I said, nap or read. I don't want to have to just sit there. It won't be relaxing for me unless I can do those things. And as it turned out, I didn't realize this, but Tesla originally offered something called Passenger Play. And that was nuts. You could play video games while the car was driving, but the NHTSA, the government said, no, this is not smart, dangerous, and so Tesla disabled it. But are we headed that way? I mean, was it disabled for now, but eventually anything goes? You can watch movies while you're driving. Are we going to get Jetsons at some point?
Well, actually, George Jetson had a little joystick. He actually was driving that little sidecar that he had. But yes, we've all seen them in the movies. We've seen them in TV shows. Yes, we're going to get that. And no, you're not going to be driving while you play the video game. The car is going to be doing the driving. And you don't want to play a video game or read a book or lie back and sleep until you have the confidence to know that you can bet your life on that software. So Tesla doesn't yet have the breakthroughs necessary to do it. Some people would suggest that maybe some of the other companies do, but they're just at the cusp. But I think it's going to explode in the 2020s. I think by the end of this decade, you'll see a very different world than you do today.
Okay, so 8 more years. It's in our lifetime. That's nice to hear. They also straighten out for me the difference between. I didn't realize that there were different sort of formats, but Tesla uses cameras and neural networks, which is basically they learn as they go. But other companies use something called maps and LiDAR, which is like a laser radar system. Why are we spreading ourselves so thin? Why aren't we really focusing in on one technology that really, really works? And then, once it's safe, we can have those cars on the road, with the conventional vehicles.
Well, you're right that Tesla's decided to do it only with cameras. They also used to use a radar, but they've decided not to do that. Everyone else, of course, uses cameras. They use neural networks. They do all the things that Tesla does. And they also add these laser scanners, which give them a true 3D view of the world. They add maps, which help them understand the road and know what the lanes mean and know where the traffic lights are and what they mean. So they're trying to use every technology they can get their hands on because their goal is to be the first to make this safe enough that you can sleep, because they know they'll make a lot of money if they can do that. So they're all looking, how can I make this as quickly as I can? And later I'll make it cheap. Tesla, even though Tesla famously had a master plan that involves start with an expensive sports car and then make it cheap later, they've reversed that approach this time. And they've said, let's use the cheap cameras, the same ones we had about 5-6 years ago. And let's see if we can get computer software, AI software, that's what these neural nets are. Everyone uses them. Tesla believes that will be enough with just the camera to make the product. Now, that's going to need a breakthrough,
Okay.
and they think they're going to make that.
I want to do something real quick.
Maybe they will.
I want to wrap this segment by showing this video from a guy named Tyler Ogden. Let's roll it. This is his driving a Tesla. Take a look.
It's going right for the truck. Oh, my God. Obviously, I had to take over. Oh, no. Oh, no. Look at that. I'm not seeing videos on it doing this. All right, I'll go.
Oh, my God.
Thanks.
At least it sees it.
Yeah. Oh, protected here, so.
Okay, just what is it doing? Oh.
Okay, so Brad, I watched that and I thought, I'm going to have you back in a few years because I'm not getting in one of those vehicles until those bugs are worked out. But thanks for being here. I really appreciate you. Really are a car guy. Thanks for your insight.
Well, great to be here. I have that Tesla. I've taken those rides. I've had the same thing happen to me, and my videos are up there. So there's a lot of different approaches. It's wonderful to meet you. Always glad to help other Canadians.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.